Good morning again. Well, I want to let you know that I was sitting out on my deck this morning. It's overcast morning. The weather felt pretty good. Sitting on the deck with my cup of coffee, and as I was thinking about today, and I was just enjoying the moment. Enjoying the birds. Even a hummingbird went past the kitchen window and just hovered there. Just hovered there. I could see it. A hummingbird so small, and it was so close to the window. I could hear his wings. Giving a buzz. Bzzz, bzzz. I was like, but it wasn't a sound. You could hear it in the wind. It was like fluttering. Which one is it, right? The buzz or the anyway, a hummingbird was there in the window this morning. And I was amazed how it just hovered there for a few seconds. Longer than I've ever have been able to see him completely and see up close and actually see the wings, the wings flying and keeping them hovered right there at the window. But anyway, that was a good start of the day, and I was like, oh, it's a nice day. So I went outside, had my coffee, um, and stayed in that moment. Just talking about with my roommate David, just talking about that the hummingbird just buzzing there, standing there in our presence, and he wasn't afraid. Uh, we were just talking about that on our way outside, and then I began to look at the nature. I'm so amazed they have a nice backyard where I can, trees. It's like I'm living in the middle of a forest, and it's natural. It's not landscaped. It's just raw. I love to see the bushes and all kind of plants. It could be weeds mixed up in there, but I don't even think a weed. No, it's just a weed. I think we call it a weed. And that's bad. I wonder, how does a weed, does a seed grow up and think it's a weed? You know what? How do we know what a weed is? And I was like, I'm sitting there looking in the yard, and I love how the nature can teach us so many things. And it was teaching me so many. I mean, I'm telling you, every morning I can go out and God will reveal Himself in a different message. And a lot of times it's reflecting my own self. Where I am in that place. And this morning when I was out there looking at nature, all of a sudden I start thinking about something else that I heard on the television. Um, you know, in the living room, I could hear it on the deck, and I got distracted from nature and nature trying to teach me something. And and it's so funny as I'm talking about the subject about the weed. How does a weed? Why do I call what's growing from the ground a weed? Why do I choose which thing is a weed? I don't have a clue. What is a weed and how did a weed get its name weed? Is it because it didn't have a name like rose or tulip? What gives nature the name that it's called? Who decides what it is? I know it has to be God. So where did weed come from? Is that a real name? Or is that what they call something that's unknown, that doesn't have a name? And it just grows. And doesn't it have a purpose? Doesn't it have a purpose? It has the right to grow. Just because somebody might choose or it's in my yard and I look at it and I say, I like it. I like the way the colors, what the color looks like. I like the leaves. I can like nature for so many reasons because it's a living thing doing its own thing. It's living. And I had to come across the thought is what makes me look at anything that's in the backyard and consider what looks good and what doesn't look good, what deserves to live and what doesn't deserve to live, what does need to be cut back, pruned, cut off, broken, pulled, yanked. makes that decision in our own lives of what is and what isn't, what deserves to live and what doesn't? It depends on the owner of that backyard or whoever is near that backyard or has authority over that backyard to decide what should live and what should not. That's a whole lot of power, for one individual should have and the responsibility. Because I have to look at it and say that I don't like a manicured lawn. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't seem natural. It seems just placed. There was some prejudice going on. Some. Let me see. What's the word? Validation. I approve of this plan, but I don't approve of that plan. I like this plan, but I don't like that one. I'm gonna put this one together and that one together, and hopefully it'll live and it'll just a plan. It should do whatever I tell it to do. But who makes that decision? And how does the plant feel? Does the plant have any say? You know what I'm saying? How come a weed can't be in the middle of a rose garden? Oh, why? Because it's a rose garden. See what I'm saying? See how we put labels on things. Well, this is a rose garden, so we only going to have roses. Well, this is a tulip garden. We only going to have tulips in here. This is only going to be this. This is only going to be this. And we'll arrange this by colors or shades. Look how all that division is. That's a lot of work to have a manicured lawn. It's a lot of work goes into it, and what chooses and what's good for the soil. You know what I'm saying? But I look at my raw backyard and I see what's growing in it, and some of it I just, I don't have a like or dislike. When I look at it, I'm saying it's just living. It's natural. It's a part of this backyard. It's a part of this community. It is growing up together. It's growing up where the seed was planted. You know what I'm saying? Where the soil was right for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if we are seeds and we are planted, we're planted. We are planted, but we have to allow the seed to grow to be whatever it's going to be, wherever it is planted. Come on, glory. Come on, glory. We have to allow a seed to grow the way it grows, the way it looks, the shade, the color. We have to allow it to be, to live. I believe that Jesus, and or we can go on back to Adam. Adam was placed in a garden. I didn't hear him plant or give a name to plants. I didn't hear any names called out for a plant. I don't remember him calling anything a weed. Come on, glory. So why we look at people and judge them and say what they are or what they are not? Only God has that right. Only God has that authority. Come on, glory. We can give it a name, but we can't give a thing a thing. A human is a human. God created man in his own image. Man didn't decide what it was going to be. Come on, glory. Man didn't decide what it was going to be. Man didn't decide where it was going to start or how it was going to start. Man didn't decide it was going to breathe. Come on, glory. Man didn't do any of that. Man didn't do any of that. It was all decided by God. You understand what I'm saying? So if a garden is, or a backyard, let's say a backyard. Why do I like a backyard? I like a backyard being raw. It's not even raw. It's being untouched. It's being unjudged. It's being allowed to live. And we both live and share it together. I shouldn't tear it down because I want to put something else there in its place. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just talking about the backyard where you have control of the backyard. You have control about what's going to grow there, what's not going to grow there. We have to look at it as our own selves when we're around people. We are seeds. Wherever we're planted, that's where we grow. Do we allow the people around us to grow? Just like the things that grows in our backyard. The tree doesn't decide, oh, look at that over there. I don't think I like that there. The tree doesn't come down and dig it up and toss it or burn it. You understand what I'm saying? It allows whatever grows around it to grow. Come on, Glory. It allows whatever around it to grow. It doesn't matter where it came from. The seed could have came from Latin, or it could have came from down in Florida and blew up and got carried. The seed got transported. You understand? Migrated from this place to that place. Come on, Glory. By any means that it traveled. Come on now. So when it falls on that fertile ground or on that ground, wherever it may be, or they designated for that seed, it will determine if it shall grow or not. The ground that it's on will let it know, can it grow here? Can it get nourishment here? Come on, Glory. Come on, Glory. A seed must be planted for it to grow, and it must be allowed to grow. It must be allowed to be what it was purposed to be. Who am I to decide if the seed that grew and dropped here in my backyard, who to say that it should not live to be what it's supposed to be? You understand what I'm saying? We can always cut it down, but a seed will always grow if the root is still there. Come on now. We have to recognize people need to grow and have their roots planted in order for them to get the nourishment that they need. Who are us to judge another? Come on, Glory. Who are we as a part of the forest that's also grew from a seed? Come on, Glory. Sometimes we have to be careful what we're tearing up, what we're considering a weed and what we consider to be a rose. There are many things and combinations that can imitate the scent of a rose. You understand? But a rose can be nothing other than a rose, because it is a rose. It was grown from a seed that grew into a rose. Who's to say that a rose can't be in my backyard? If a seed were planted there and it dropped, guess what? The rose will grow. Come on, Glory. Because it's good soil. Wherever good soil is, or the right soil, it can grow with that seed. Then you will see that seed grow into a rose. Who determines what's a rose and what's a weed? Do we go by our visual, or what we give a definition of what a weed is? But is a weed really a weed? Through your eyes and your definition, it could be a weed. But to the rose definition and version of it, it is a plant. It's something that has grown. It doesn't judge it. It doesn't condemn it. It grows with it. You don't see the trees and the plants having arguments, screaming at one another, tearing down one another, saying, no, I only want this to grow over here. Everything else got to be torn up because we don't want it here. Can you imagine the condition the world would be in if it argued, or if it didn't live in harmony? Can you imagine what our country would be like if the trees got together and warred against each other? How about the flowers and the roses fighting with the tulips? Come on now, can you imagine having protests and making up laws against the tulip, and then making laws against the rose? Come on, people. Come on, in harmony. That's what's needed between you and me. Harmony. And understand that we all have the right to live and grow where we are planted. And if someone is there, why should I tear you down? Because you're a rose. Or why should I tear you down? Because you are weak. In the sight of someone else, that weed could look like a rose, have a scent of a tulip. Come on, glory. Who are we to say? Who am I to say? So the lesson I said in today was like being outside and recognizing the backyard is full of life. Things are living and they're living together. And they look good, natural. I love natural landscape yard where nature is the landscape. Come on, not my decision, not a man touch it and arrange it. You know, I'm tired of living life where everything's arranged. You know what I'm saying? Everything's arranged. Everything has its own place over there, over there, over there. How come it can't just grow and live together? There'll be a forest, but a beautiful forest. A beautiful forest. We don't know what the kingdom of heaven is with the forest or the garden that Jesus was planted in. A forest is a garden. It's a natural garden. Come on, glory. A forest is a natural garden. Has its own arrangements. Naturally. What lives there is there. Come on, glory. It'd be nice if we can all live together naturally. 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 We're seeds. And every seed needs to grow and be what it's going to be. And live naturally. I'm not going to conform the rose to be a tulip. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put mandates and make laws to say this is out loud, outlawed because you are tulip. Is that right for the tulip to be outlawed because a rose didn't like it? Didn't like the scent, didn't like the shape, didn't like the color. Come on, people, let's be real. Stop all this BS. You know what I'm saying? Come on, glory. Just remember that. Just remember that. When you see people, allow them to grow, allow them to be who they are. And you maintain and be who you are. And live in harmony and live in unity. Keep down the noise and the negativity. Negativity is man created. Negativity comes from man's own creation and own ideas. Come on, glory. And they're all limitations. All limitations. Fighting against unity. Limitations. Come on, glory. So that's my word to share today. Hey, brothers. Let it be natural. Let your relationships and what you see, let it be natural. Stop judging, just condemning, calling each other weeds, and thinking we're better than the other one. Let's just live in unity, grow, strengthen, nurture each other, motivate each other, strengthen each other, support each other, blend in with each other. Come on now. And harmony and unity is in a forest of community. Come on, glory. Have a good day, my brothers, and live your mighty way. Glory. Have a good day, brothers. Until the next time.